How many people were at VidCon? How many people went to VidCon? Some of you went to VidCon, but I know not a lot of you did, because when I went to VidCon this year, I basically went for 2 days. And if you've never been to a VidCon before, you're not that weird, because I've never been to a VidCon before, and I'm a goddamn YouTuber. This is my first ever VidCon. The only reason that I went to VidCon this year is because I got an email from the people at VidCon and they invited me. And I said yes, because last VidCon, when they threw it, the final day of VidCon, they rented out all of California Adventure, one of the theme parks in Disneyland. And for 3 hours, they let only creators, invited creators, go to Disneyland, ride all the rides with no lines, no other people. It was just basically YouTubers taking over this area. So I was like, that sounds fucking dope. I will 100% do VidCon just for the invite to go to California Adventure. You guys might think that VidCon is a YouTube convention, similar to TwitchCon. It is the counterpart. Not the case at all. If you don't know, VidCon was created by the Green brothers, Hank Green and John Green. They made VidCon as a sort of video conference for YouTubers, but it's not exclusive to YouTube. And they eventually sold it to a different company, and it's usually sponsored by YouTube, but last year, it was actually sponsored by TikTok. And I was like, ugh. And so this year, they've returned it back to YouTube. YouTube decided to sponsor it again. I think YouTube considered making their own con, and then we're like, wait, this is actually like really hard, and then quit. And then we're like, hey, we'll just sponsor VidCon. That's basically what happened. Don't say Omegalol LD. I'm not old. I'm just older than TikTokers, which is normal. You're always going to be older than people. All right, someone was born right now, so whatever. So this year it's sponsored by YouTube. Good for me. And also, I want to go to California Adventure. So I basically have 2 goals for VidCon. Goal number 1 is schmooze with YouTube bigwigs, higher-ups, the Neil Mohans, all right? The big shots of the world, so that I can hopefully renew my YouTube contract and also make YouTube Live better. And then goal 2, enjoy the fuck out of California Adventures. So I basically signed up for 2 days of VidCon. Again, I've never been to a VidCon before. So I pull up to VidCon, and the whole time before VidCon happens, the communication is very intense. I've never experienced this. You know, I've been at TwitchCon, and it's kind of like, yeah, if your partner like pull up, like we have like a line for you, and like if you're like really a big deal, you can like kind of ask somebody to get you a badge or whatever. It's all very like, you know, make it up as you go along. VidCon, not the case. I was told in 3 separate emails that I was not allowed to walk the floor by myself. That is how strict they were. The actual convention floor, they said you cannot go unless you are accompanied by security guards. I was like, the fuck? I'll just throw on a goddamn hat. I'll throw on a COVID mask if need be, and then I'll walk through. Nobody will notice. But that's the VidCon rules. So first day I go to VidCon, I have like a panel with people at YouTube Gaming, and then I also have a couple of internal meetings. Spicy. So I show up bright and early. It was run by Leo, who's the guy who's the head of YouTube Gaming. On the panel was Dr. Lupo, Fusli, I believe a woman named Christina, who I had met that day, Matt Pat, and Steph, and me. Honestly, I don't know what the fuck I was doing there. Zero prep at all. They were just kind of like, go up on the stage. And we were like, okay. And Leo will ask you questions. And we're like, all right. Here's a funny thing though. Before the panel started, Leslie was next to me, nervous as all hell. I don't know why. She streams in front of thousands of people, but a crowd of 200, suddenly she was freaking out. So right before, she's kind of nervous, and you know, I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine, I'll be fine. And they're handing out all the mics to everybody. Everyone gets their own individual microphone. And Leslie's the last one in line. And they're like, ooh, ran out of microphones. They just ran out. The microphone store only had 6. I don't know what the fuck happened. There were clearly supposed to be 7 people on the panel. She's sitting on the far end. I am the only one next to her, so I have to share the microphone with her. And, you know, I'm trying to hand it off. And every time I give her the microphone, she, like, instantly hands it back to me. And I am an asshole. But when I see somebody who's somewhat, you know, uncomfortable, I think it's funny. And so... One of the questions that Leo asked, and they were very like, they were like softballs. It was like, who's your favorite creator right now? And everyone goes around and everyone talks. And I give the mic to Leslie to go first. She's like, you know what? I've been watching a lot of Ludwig play Only Up. I like watching Ludwig. And then she hands it over to me. And then without skipping a beat, I go, you're not even in my top 10. crazy I'm number one. You're not cracking single digits here, buddy. Which was mean. I felt bad about this after. Cause like I'm friends with Leslie too. I'm friends with Leslie. But when she reduces herself in terms of like self-confidence to the height of a child-sized basketball net, I'm holding the basketball. All I can think to do is dunk. It's just in my DNA. It's the intrusive thoughts and they're winning. I apologized after. I apologized profusely. It was funny though. It got laughs. All right. It got laughs, fellas, please. But I had to dunk on the child-sized net. And so the panel goes off without a hitch. I talked to Leo. This is my first time ever meeting Leo. It's the guy who runs YouTube gaming. I'll be honest. I thought he was maybe a boomer because he came from Facebook and I was like, well, I mean, that website's in the fucking dump. Turns out he is a gamer. Like a bigger gamer than almost anyone I have ever met. A bigger gamer than me, a bigger gamer than Nick. An obsession with gaming that I've never witnessed before. Every conversation would be about gaming. And at a certain point, I was like, dude, you're like having meetings, right? Like you're ahead of YouTube gaming. You'll meet with every major production studio and you'll meet with everyone. You're meeting with all the bigwigs. You know way more about gaming than all of them. Aren't you getting diminishing returns knowing this much about gaming? Like being this much of a gamer? He's like, thinks about it for a moment. He's like, well, it helps a lot being the gaming guy, but yeah, you might be right. But I just like video games. I was like, that's tight. You know what? That's fucking tight. I am on board, Leo, with the gaming love. I can respect this. And after this roundtable in front of everybody, we go behind closed doors. And I don't know how much I'm allowed to leak here, so I got to be a little cautious. But we have a behind closed door meeting with all of the bigwigs at YouTube. And in the room it's like a few other creators. Foozly's there, Dr. Lupo was there, Dream was there. And Dream, son of a bitch, I got a bone to pick with Dream. We have 1 hour to talk to these people. 1 hour to like level and be like, hey, this is what we want. Or be like, hey, what are you working on? This is what we need for you to work on. And Dream gets in there, God bless Dream, great YouTuber, big YouTuber, successful, millions and millions of followers. But he asks a question that spawns a 30-minute conversation. And I'm sitting there and he has this idea for a product that's basically, and I'm simplifying it, but adding unique tabs to YouTube homepages so that you can customize it in a way that you couldn't before. Kind of like having your own website. Not a bad idea intrinsically, but I know how YouTube operates. And the way YouTube operates is they like simplifying user experiences. They don't like user confusion. They don't like multiple choices. They like it to be across the board the same. Of our hour time, we spend 35 minutes talking about this. 35. And at a certain point, one of the guys who was like lead of a certain group at YouTube, he was like, it seems like you guys are passionate about this. We could probably talk about this for another 3 hours. Is this the biggest thing you care about? And I was like, thank you, Lord. No, it's not even top 50. It's maybe 51. And finally, of our hour meeting, we have 25 minutes left. And I get to the big issue at hand, a problem that I have felt for a long time. And I've known since I joined YouTube that YouTube is generally slow at adding new features and what I would say fixing things. But they're not slow all the time. And so I talked about how there's a lot of features or lack of features for horizontal live streaming that are available on Twitch or other websites that make it more difficult to stream on YouTube. And this is not a shot at anybody, but I think across the board, it is pretty apparent that anybody who switches from Twitch to YouTube, knowing all of what they know to stream on Twitch, struggle to stream on YouTube because it is somewhat of a different game. It is just harder to do. Not to say you cannot be successful, not to say that you can't be more successful, but it is a different skill streaming on YouTube versus streaming on Twitch. And there's a lot of quality of life on Twitch that exist that make it easier, more fun, more successful to stream. And it would help if YouTube had some of those things. And I brought a lot of it up because I've already been on YouTube for almost 2 years now. I've been here for a couple of years. And when I first started, I thought in my head, like, yeah, they'll be slow, but they'll probably catch up to Twitch in 3 years. That's what I thought. I always thought, yeah, they'll be slow, but in 3 years they'll catch up. And 2 years have passed, and I'm still giving myself the same time frame. Okay, yeah, they're slow, but it's still another 3 years. And I realized part of the problem is that there's no fire under their ass. Like right now, if you think about the biggest threat to YouTube's existence, it is not Twitch. Let's be real. Colloquially, we talk about Twitch as if it's a dying entity. Now, they're still market share leaders, yada, yada, but their graph trending downwards in all metrics. Right? Their graph trending downwards in public perception. So there's no fire under YouTube's ass to catch up to what Twitch has, because if they catch up to what Twitch has, they're basically joining a train that is going downhill. Now, where is a fire under YouTube's ass? TikTok. That is a trend that is going up very fast. So I feel like things that they are considering are less, hey, what is Twitch doing? And it's more like, oh, what is TikTok doing? They're thinking about things like YouTube Shorts. Maybe, vertical live streams. Maybe the way that TikTok uses monetization with their integrated like emotes that you can pay for. Those are things that they feel a fire under their ass to do and will probably release quickly, and they feel zero fire for any of what Twitch has, which makes sense to me, but is also a bummer, because in my mind, there is a big opportunity that exists in the horizontal live streaming space. Twitch, very stagnant. Kick, a lot of dubious reasons that people don't enjoy the website. There's an opportunity for big YouTube to take over, but there's no fire. There's no need to rush to fix it. I am both worried and hopeful. I'm worried because I realized after the conversations that I like YouTube. I would not mind staying with YouTube, but I might be on my way out by the time YouTube is fixed. I might be on my way out. I'm 20-7. I turned 28 in 2 damn weeks. By the time I'm 30, they might have caught up, but I'm going to be 30 fucking years old. How the hell am I going to be making content for someone who's 18, 19, 12 years older? What the hell do we share in common? But I'm hopeful because I do think that YouTube will be a very legitimate contender in English-speaking audiences to other horizontal live streaming sites in 3 years. I left the meeting feeling confident that they're not about to quit on live, but they're not going to rush to win the live market. That was generally how the meetings went. And I spoke to quite a few people at YouTube. And there's one person who I wanted to speak to, who was the head of YouTube Live, who I found out very quickly wasn't there at all. I spoke to like 15 YouTube employees. None of them ran the YouTube Live department. However, every YouTube employee who comes up to me, I think I might be one of the most popular creators amongst YouTube employees. Not because my videos are amazing or whatever, I'm relatable or I make funny content. Everybody is seeing the Susan interview. I think they show it to YouTube employees as a part of the onboarding experience. Everybody brings it up to me. So basically, I need to do an interview with Neil yesterday, so I can get famous amongst YouTube employees again. Get myself another YouTube contract. You know what I'm saying? All right, Neil, your people talk to my people. Also, one more thing. On Thursday, when I'm at VidCon, I realized none of the creators actually hang out at VidCon. Like, VidCon is held in the Anaheim Convention Center. All of the creators hang out at this hotel that they buy out the entirety of. I think it's called the Hyatt. Next to the large Hyatt that you could stay at as a normal person, there's a smaller, fancier Hyatt called like the Hyatt Regency. They buy out the entire building, all right? It's like 12 floors. Every single hotel room's bought out, and they invite creators to fill up every room in those hotel rooms. You can't even get into the hotel unless you are a creator. There's like security everywhere. And all the creators have just congregated in this hotel, and you walk around and like a lot of people you won't recognize, but then it's like, oh, that is Smosh. Oh, that is Quackity. Oh, that is Connor Dog, voice actor. It's like only YouTubers. It's kind of a weird place. And I talked to everybody, and here's the weird thing about VidCon, and it made me feel like, why would you go to this if you were a viewer? None of them like going to the convention center. Like across the board, when they talk about the things, the activities that they need to do in the convention center, like the whole reason we are all here, VidCon, they're all like, I gotta do a panel in an hour. I got a meet and greet in a couple hours. And it's like going to work and they go to do their job and then they come back and then they're like, oh, now I get to hang out with what I want to do. And I'm like, kind of sad, because although TwitchCon is somewhat similar, it feels a little better because everyone's housed in the same building. And there's like a Twitch partner lounge, but at least they're in the same building and at least they walk through the same sort of areas. In VidCon, it's like, here, kiss the finger. All right, I gotta go. See you later. See you later, fuckers. Well, I realized the reason is because there are so many fucking YouTubers. Like, Twitch is still a generally small website. I know pretty much every top streamer, right? I've at least interacted with them. Maybe we're mutuals on Twitter. Everyone with some sort of following I've met at some point. YouTube is too big to do that. If you wanted to meet every person with 1 million+ subscribers, you'd have to meet like 100,000 people. There are a lot of goddamn people, and I found out the hard way. Because I didn't realize that the Hyatt was exclusive to creators because people kept coming up to me. And this is not a flex, but I would walk around and I would end a conversation. And then like I would enter into someone's AOE and another conversation would start. And I felt like a Skyrim NPC that just had the hottest commodities and everybody wanted my wares. Because I would take one step and it'd be like, how's it going? My name is Eldrick's son. I make Lego movies. And I'm like, crazy. And they have like 500,000 subscribers. And then I'll take another step and I'll be like, greetings, traveler. My name is Steward. I make small little Roblox videos. 1 million subscribers. And I'm like, great. So many people would come up and it's very cool to meet all these people. Finally, I escaped due in part to the sweet clutches of Dr. K. And I got wrapped into a conversation with Dr. K. And he had like an aura around him that people did not interrupt the conversation for. I had a wonderful conversation with him. And then I leave. And after I left, I came to the conclusion that I don't know if I really enjoy VidCon as a human. It just seems it's pretty draining. The panels are fun, but somewhat stressful. And it is a lot of people to meet. Saturday, I go back to VidCon. And Saturday is packed. I have a basically a 10 a.m. to like 5 p.m. day. You know, like a full day at VidCon with every hour something else to do. And the first thing I was supposed to do was at 10 a.m. I had a panel with chess people. I don't know why the fuck I was invited to do a chess panel. I don't even know how they decide who does a panel or how a panel is made at all. But I was somehow lumped into doing a panel with the Botezes and Michelle Carre for chess. I'm not good at chess, but I was like, all right, I'll do it. And so I'm going to drive to VidCon. And I realized I have no idea where the fuck to go. I went to the public parking garage. It was $20. I was like, $20 fucking, Jesus Christ. And then I walk out and I'm just in the convention. I broke the one rule I was not supposed to break. I was instantly just in the convention with a bunch of people. And people looked at me like I was an alien because I don't think any creators just walk around. Even Dream, I heard Dream walked around with an entourage that was like Floyd Mayweather. Like he walked around like 30 bodyguards. You could not get within 12 feet of Dream if you wanted. Me, I was just like walking around. And I realized it was weird because instantly I started getting a lot of looks and people weren't even asking to like get a picture, an autograph. They're just so weirded out that I was in the convention that they were like, Ludwig? And I was like, sup? But I was like, oh wait, maybe this is bad because this might create a group of people. So I had a secret strategy. Walking through the convention, because it's a pretty large convention space, I disguised myself. Hold up, I'm going to show you my disguise. Sup? Name's Anders. Worked like a fucking charm. All right, I'm cruising through that convention. And they're like, who's that weird guy? Nobody notices. But because I was parking in like the main area and because I was lost, I was 10 minutes late. I felt kind of bad about this. I was literally 10 minutes late to the panel. Like I arrived at the panel that starts at 10 at 10:05 or something. And the issue is sometimes they give you like a microphone, like you know, simple microphone, you speak into it. Yep. Sometimes, however, they give you those boy band mics, like the one that boy band on SpongeBob uses, and it just goes right around the ears, and it's like one little thing that pops out here, and you talk like this. Those fucking suck. Because not only are they somewhat uncomfortable in the head, they are incredibly difficult to speak loudly into. Because it's not in front of your mouth, it's on the side. And so I realized very quickly the audience couldn't hear us. So first panel of the day, 10 a.m., haven't had a sip of water, haven't had a sip of coffee, haven't had any food. I am yelling at this chess panel, no fucking clue what I'm doing there, because we're playing hand brain, which is where one person says what piece to move, the other person moves the piece, with two damn near chess professionals, the Botezes, and me and Michelle. And I'm sitting there yelling the whole time. And quickly I realized that everybody in the audience doesn't play chess. Like certainly some people did play chess and some people like have played chess and know how it works, but they're looking at a screen that shows the chess moves and they're like, this means nothing to me. And I'm like, oh, this is boring as fuck. So then I start going full, you know, developers. I start hooting, I start hollering. But doing that, I'm losing my voice. And after the panel's done, voice gone. It's 11 a.m. I have 6 hours to go. Now, one of the cool things about VidCon is in the back behind the curtains where only the creators go, they have free food. And you know what? Like, I don't want to say that made it all worth it, but it kind of made it all worth it. It's not like good food, but it's like free bananas, free snackies, free coffee, free tea. So I'm going crazy on the chamomile tea with honey. And then I have 1 hour. This is my 1 hour break where I can do whatever I want. I can eat lunch before I have a long day. So I'm on my way to eat lunch and I get stopped. And this is a raid boss of a stop. I get stopped by 2 VC dudes. God bless their heart. They're working on a cool project, whatever the hell. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to leak it. And I'm trying to like entertain it and be nice and be polite. But I'm like, bro, I have 1 hour. This is all I have today. This is all I have. And they're going off and they're telling me their pedigree and they have VC funding and they went to a cool university and they've name dropped Mr. Beast. They've basically hit all the markers of a VC conversation. Funding, pedigree, Mr. Beast. Bang. And at the end, they're like, what do you think about your audience in incorporating this technology? And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't do it. They're like, what? They're like, why? And I'm like, I just don't like making my viewers spend money. I'm already rich. They're like, all right. And they leave. I'm like, great. That was easy. 40 minutes passed. Fuck me, dude. 40 minutes passed. I lost my whole fucking lunch break. I have to go straight to my booth. I had a booth and I got to meet a lot of viewers, a lot of you guys. We had a disability line, which I only am saying because everybody who was in the line was like, hey, it is so cool you have this. Nobody else has this. It's so nice of you. I was like, yeah, for sure. I'm super passionate about this. I was super aware of this. Didn't even think about it. What a cool, whoever thought of that on our team, great job. Because I didn't even consider that. I pretended, I took all the credit. I was like, yeah, 100%. 100%. That was Bunt? Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, shout out Bunt. Yeah, they're goated. It basically turned into a 45-minute meet and greet, which was fine, except for this like 9-year-old kid, this little fucker who was front of the line. And he's just sitting there the whole time I'm meeting all these people in the stable line. He's going, every time I turn around, it's a kid going, I'm like, dude, how are you doing this? Where's your mom? His mom, right there. Stop it, Henry. Stop it. Kid, you're short. Funny kid, sweet kid. It was just insane to me, the scene that was going on there. What was cool though is I realized women and the gays way more proactive about doing stuff, just in general. And I've noticed this my 6 years streaming. And my theory was that guys are lazy, which I think is part of it. But I also think there's this weird thing where guys are too self-conscious or insecure to actually be a fan of something. And girls are like very cool with just being a fan. Like they're aware, like, hey, I am a fan of this thing. I like this thing. That is okay. I like celebrating the fact that I'm a fan and celebrating with other people who are fans. Guys are like, oh, I'm not a fan of anything at all. I have no heroes at all except for myself and who I will be in 10 years. That's my hero. And so it actualizes is at VidCon, mostly women. My meet and greet line was over 50% women. And so it was kind of cool though. So I do the meet and greet. Meet and greet goes great. After the meet and greet, I do a boxing panel, which I have no business being on. And the panelist, sweet guy, but he prepared questions clearly for boxers. And like I did run a large boxing event, but his questions were like, hey, how was training for boxing? And then he'd ask everybody in order and then he'd go to me. And then I was like, really hard. So I ended up just being a second moderator on this panel. After the panel, the thing that I was the most nervous doing happened. It was me meeting with people from Make-A-Wish, which I've never done this. And there was like a weird pressure that I had felt when I found out, because I didn't find out till the weekend of. And so I like kind of hyped this thing up in my head. I was like, oh, how do I like give them experience? Like they want to meet Ludwig. Like, how do I do this? And right before I'm about to go, like on the ride over, Yingo, he's in the car with me. He's like, yeah, actually a lot of families dropped. I was like, what do you mean they dropped? Like they're here and they dropped? Like they don't want to meet anymore? What's going on? Like I realized they're not there for me. There's a basically collaboration between Vidcon and Make-A-Wish. And the wish is Vidcon. It's like being a YouTuber. And if you want to be a YouTuber, what's the greatest wish you can get? Well, go to Vidcon and meet any YouTuber you want to meet who's there. And I think they got basically a list of YouTubers who were there and also down to do the Make-A-Wish. And they were like, check. And so I think like 5 families were like, yeah, Ludwig. And then the day of when they were like, oh yeah, now you have to meet Ludwig. They're like, we have to walk all the way down. I mean, really, he fell off after doing the button. Like, are we really walking all the way here? So I go, it's 2 families, very sweet families, super nice people. We play a game of Uno, but one thing I found funny was one of the kids who was part of Make-A-Wish wasn't like hanging out. And I didn't get the sense that they like watched me, but her dad was instantly like, my brother loves you. And it was only after that I was like, okay, I think that this is just the father who kind of likes me wanting to meet. Final thing that I have to do is the 2-hour meet and greet. And by this point, I am cooked. I've basically spent 5 hours, 6 hours losing my voice, running around, doing things back to back to back, meeting with VCs. And I have a 2-hour meet and greet going strong. The thing about it is like when people meet me, that is the only time they will probably meet me, like ever, you know, unless I do another meet and greet that they happen to go to. And there's a lot of expectation in my mind on how they want me to be. And I like meeting people, so I don't mind it. But like I am cooked. I have had one Krispy Kreme donut, 2 teas, and a banana to this point because I did not get to eat my lunch. So I'm just chugging through a brutal line that I am flattered at. Just try my best. So to anyone who I met, hopefully it was worthwhile and, you know, a fun experience. And if it wasn't, I apologize. I tried my best. And then I went back to the hotel. And the only thing I wanted to do after that was take a nice long bath and then go to Disney. Right? Get my 3 hours at California Adventures uninterrupted with no lines, with only creators. On my way back, I'm talking to someone from the Vidcon staff. I'm like, yeah, I'm excited for Disney tonight. And he says, excited for what? And I explain like, oh, it's the Disney thing. You know, the Disney, maybe they didn't invite staff. It's like maybe creator thing. And he's like, oh, buddy, we got rid of that this year. Cool. So will I do VidCon again? We'll see. We'll see. I would be hard pressed.